The game is live on talkSPORT, 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. England's goal tally of 12 so far is already the joint most they've ever managed in the World Cup, matching their total in 2018. England's record against France, 17 wins, 9 defeats and only 5 draws. Now, ahead of the big match, Aaron Ramsdale has been speaking to talkSPORT and talked about just how special Saka is.
If you haven't seen the clip of him asking David Beckham for a picture, I don't need to say much more. The nicest, most humble kid, polite as anything, been brought up the right way. And, you know, if you watch that clip, then you'll just fall in love with him, and that's what he's like. He's funny. I think everyone spoke about the same sort of thing, so I see it day in, day out, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change with the cameras or just because it's England. He's like that with every member of staff at Arsenal and here, so he's just that perfect, that perfect boy which you wish will either be your son or your brother who's been brought up the right way. So it's a massive testament to his mum and dad.
Yeah, he looks quiet, but not on the pitch, Ray. Not on the pitch, he's quiet.
Yeah, he's such a good guy. I mean, I totally agree with Aaron, what he says there. I mean, I was lucky to spend time with him pre-season, and he sits down, he wants to know about what happened in your career, and, talking about great players for Arsenal back in the day. And, what he went through during the Euros, Al, when he missed that penalty, it probably really hurt him. But I know for a fact that he probably said, right, I'm going to show these people I'm a top player. And as I said before, we've got some really, really good young players in England's side. I mean, you look at Foden, look at Rice, he's going to develop into Bellingham. All them sort of guys, they're going to get better and better together. But Saka, certainly, he's a really good lad, and I really hope he does start tomorrow. I think he will start, and let's see how he can develop into a player that could be massive for Arsenal and massive for England as well going forward.
Ali, just from a manager's point of view, they're not going to be in full training, they're just going to be ticking over, aren't they? But could that be the deciding factor in training, who he picks, Rashford or Saka?
Well, there might be a small, minor element of that, boys, but I don't think they'll be doing enough training now to make an impact on the manager's decision. Because effectively, what will they do? They'll just be doing a couple of boxes, a warm-up, a bit of shape,
penalties, Ellie, penalties.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, 100%, Ray, they'll be doing that. So I'm not sure. I think the work to impress has already been done.
Yes, okay, absolutely. Let's hear more from the England camp. John is now live from Qatar. Talk to us, England correspondent Faye Carruthers. Faye, a very good morning.
Morning, Faye.
Morning, Al. Morning, Ray. Morning, Ali.
A bit warmer than we are here, Faye. We're -2 this morning. It's very, very chilly in London, but no doubt where you are is beautiful sunshine. And what's the whispers from the England camp? Can you enlighten us? Who will play? Will it be Saka? Will it be Marcus?
Well, I think having spoken to Gareth Southgate on a number of occasions during this tournament about starters and finishers, when I spoke to him, I think it was pre-Wales, maybe pre-Senegal, he was talking about the importance of the squad as a whole, which I've mentioned on a number of occasions. And he said there are some players who are much better off the bench than others. Some players take a little bit longer maybe to get up to speed with the game. Others, for example, Marcus Rashford, when he came on against Iran, what was it, 90 seconds it took him to get on the score sheet. So that may have a factor in who he picks to start, because there were many surprises, perhaps, bearing in mind Rashford's performance in the Wales game, 2 goals, just fantastic performance all round, especially when he switched wings with Phil Foden, that I think Gareth Southgate may stick with Foden and Saka. Either side. Sterling's back in the camp now, but I think it's going to be 2. He'll be on the bench.
Do you not think, Faye, looking at England now, I don't know, you think, boys, back there as well, I think England team just about picks itself.
Yeah.
I really do. I think there's 9 certain starters, and you could maybe have a wee question mark in wide areas. I just think that Gareth now is just 100% in his head. He knows what his starting 11 will be, but he also knows the importance of the boys going off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. And Jack Grealish off the bench always delivers and causes the opposition problems. And I think that's going to be really key going forward. And all the talk going into this game has been about Mbappe in particular and France's threats. But the threats that we have and the the players that can come off the bench that Gareth Southgate has available to him to come on and change a game is enormous. And I don't feel as if we're talking enough about how we can break down France. It's always how do we stop them. And really interesting comments. I was saying to Paul Coit this morning on Early Breakfast, if you ever get an opportunity to sit down with Steve Holland, you'll have met him, Ali. He's just the most interesting guy, Gareth Southgate's number 2, and he was talking tactically with some of the written press the other day, and he's fascinating. And he talked about it being a very cat and mouse game. You know, you obviously want to nullify their threats, but you want to be imposing yours and impose yourself on the game. And so when there's this talk about the negativity maybe of a back 3, he doesn't see it as a negative starting 11, starting with a back 3 in the slightest, but he understands why people think that it's more on the front foot having a back 4, and that's why I think they'll stick with that. But when he talks about how to break down a team like France, it's on the front foot, it's attacking them rather than stopping them at source. And I think that midfield 3 of Bellingham, Rice and Henderson is exactly the way to do that, because Rice and Henderson allow Bellingham to go and play his game.
You just mentioned that, Faye. I mean, Bellingham, 19 years old, probably one of the biggest games of his life coming up on Saturday, but it doesn't seem to faze him, does it? I mean, for a 19-year-old kid to play in Dortmund and playing Champions League football, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does at the weekend against the top sides, and he's going to be such a big player going forward for England, probably next 3 World Cups.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, to stand next to him, to interview him and to watch him play at close quarters, you have absolutely you wouldn't know he was 19 years old. So mature, got his head properly screwed on. You know, we heard Aaron Ramsdale there talking about Bukayo Saka and his upbringing, but the upbringing that Jude Bellingham has had, and very grounded young man, very confident in his ability, but not in an arrogant way. And we talk about that quite a lot. And he is just an incredible talent. And we talk about what Kylian Mbappe can do on the pitch. Jude Bellingham has really lit this tournament alight as far as I'm concerned.